But anyway, she's proven her point. She's quite good at this. But yes, couple things to note here. Reminder, we had a lot of narratives around Bifrost versus X7 and X7's sloppiness in mid-games. Ability to, yes, play to an incredible level, but at the same... What was that?
Honestly, production, I feel like you could have been way more creative this time around. We have a screaming goat. Goat.
That was a goat?
You know what my favorite goat is?
Out. What's your favorite goat?
Well, currently it's actually Haru.
I knew you were going there with that. Oh, we go. I was going to go on so many narrative arcs, and production has led us this way, but you're right. Haru has been a monster. He has a skin in the damn game. We'll bring it up as often as we damn well like, because very few players have done
Remember
that.
why?
Can we show Ezreal real quick? Can we show Ezreal real quick? Just show Ezreal.
Ooh. What do you know? He's got it. He's wearing Haru's skin.
Wait, whose skin is that?
Is that actually the skin? Is
I think it might. No, it's not.
It's not.
Honestly,
Nata?
Nata as a teammate.
Okay,
you literally have a guy.
That's not cool.
I know,
with a
right?
skin on your team,
That's not
on the
cool.
champion you've been playing 2 times today. And you've not
I'm
chosen
upset.
the skin.
You know, Haru, have words
You did
with
play
him.
it first time.
But Kasing is playing the skin.
That's true.
True.
Yeah.
Samsung skins there abound from back in 2017 when Haru became a world champion, rather, alongside his role partner in Ambition, of course, who was the other jungler on that
he was there
squad.
too.
Indeed, he was. He did quite well. He had a whole music video done about him the year after. Quite a good one from what I remember. But either way, little note about Tempt here as well. This is his second most played champion of all time, behind Azir, which was such a big deal for such a long time. Gulborg, you seem to have something you've got your eye on.
He's hiding the screen from me.
Sorry about that.
He's very passionate. Go on, man.
Yeah, so I feel like just diving into the conversations this time around, because the first 3 picks was a mimic of the first game that we were seeing. I feel like Bifrost this time has a few more tools to play around with. I actually think it benefited them a little bit that X7 decided to ban away the Yuumi, and they now get to have Jewel on Leona. This is where we see him shine so often on some of these engaged champions. Like, you think Thresh, you think the Leona, you think the Nautilus, some of these champions that can actually be aggressive and have the rest of your team follow you. Now there's something to dive with on Volibear as well. Now there's something to engage with the follow-up as well with the Vex in the mid lane.
And I really like you calling that, because this is Bifrost's last chance. They are 0-2 down if they want to turn up the way we saw them turn up in the Juggernaut match in that upper bracket final against X7. It needs to start now, and it needs to start with some serious steps up. Yes, X7 have looked so much cleaner. Their mid games have been so much more dominant. They've looked much more crisper in terms of how they're controlling the map. All of that is great for X7, but Bifrost haven't really matched that at all this series right now, and it has to start somewhere, and Duel on something like a Leona sounds like a good start.
Absolutely, but X7 are sporting a third play style for this best of series. They started with a 1-3-1. Then they went into a full team fight comp, front to back. And now if they so wish to, they can play the 1 and 4. Have your Graves on a side lane. Maybe it's a whole breaker. It's after the nerf, but still it can work. But also if it doesn't, he's pretty durable on his own to be on a side lane after the shield ball plus a Bloodthirster. And then the Fawn Mark core that you're leaving behind is so slippery and so durable that cannot easily be dived.
This could be good from the side of Bifrost, because Harrow have just cleared up the scuttle, so X7, they may feel like they're in a false sense of security here, where they're like, well, we got the bot side scuttle. Surely there's not a jungler around, but...
And no flashes
That's
have
the
been used,
recall.
crucially.
Yeah, C-Boy this time around, you know, he's got too many nightmares after his bot lane attempts.
Oh, it's not been the best series from C-Boy. This was a guy who was pretty critical, actually, honestly, in getting some of those wins against X7 in that initial matchup in playoffs, but the semi-finals, Viking kind of had the edge over him. I think we've all kind of come to that conclusion in this series. He's been kind of under Haru's thumb, and there haven't been the comebacks that we saw when they were finding their victories earlier in playoffs, earlier in the split.
And once again, the vision control from X7 has already spotted C-Boy out. Double scuttle over to Haru again, just proving once again his jungle kingdom. What he's able to get done once he's got lane to facilitate him. So C-Boy, they have all the intel that he is on the top side. This allows them to play a bit more defensive. Haru is hovering up towards that top side, so even if Jaeger was going to get dived, well, he would have his jungler to protect him.
And of course, with the Sky Splitter coming down, it does give Haru and the rest of X7 knowledge of where C-Boy was lurking. Jaeger throws down his own ward, but it's right now just kind of playing this one about as safely as he can, aware that there might be some pressure around.
Yeah, at this point, I think you played slow, right? There had been way too many mistakes in the early game that allowed Haru to pick up steam, right? And sort of snowball the game out of control for X7. So you definitely do not want to be giving these opportunities away if you're Bifrost. You've got a pretty well-scaling team. You've got a pretty good reach into the backline with the Megana, with the Volibear, with the Leona later on, the Vex ultimate. So you do have the access, and Zoe is more vulnerable. Tempt is more vulnerable on this champion. You can reach the Ezreal, you can reach the Rakan to delete them. So there are options later on if you look into their team fights.
Right, and I think that's something to call out, because while X7 have actually got pretty good range between Ezreal, between Zoe, between Graves if he throws out a lot of his bursts and his cooldowns, Bifrost have got really good ways to close down on those members, and with Herald being a thing in a few minutes, with the initial Drake up now as well, Goodborg, I am curious to see, do you expect Bifrost and X7 to clash, or if not, who is going to be looking to prioritize those objectives?
I could totally see them clash. He's already had half-hit level 6, and you get the level 6 on Leona as well, but currently, actually, they have the priority. Fury, he was the first one to recall. He TP'd in before Tempt could do so, so he gained the mid lane priority down towards the bot side. You have to push this time around. When you're facing Leona into Rakan, when you have the Lethality Sire that gets to shove in the waves with the Feta, you can actually be the first Drake here from the side of Bifrost in a game in this series.
First time they've got a first Drake, all series long. Proactive moves from Bifrost, just off slightly quicker reset timings. It's another stable early game, a little bit like the last game. We are seeing Bifrost at least come out in the edge for now, and granted there's only one neutral objective in the good, at least in the early game here.
But also on the other side, you see the restraint from X7, right? Temp TPs a little bit later than Fury. You don't want to be face-checking into the Vex. You don't want to be face-checking into Feathers and a Leona. So everybody backs off, goes back to the waves, pushes their lanes down. So at some point, the laners are going to have to come back and reply. So honestly, when your opponent takes something, X7 are just so good at losing the least amount possible so far out of any other team.
And now, I would actually like to see Fury try and get some control of the mid lane, get a reset through before you really hit that first Rift Herald to come through, because that is going to be the point of attack, and you can already see the map right now. Haru is the first run around. Tempt is already hovering up towards the top side, and Bifrost, once again, just a little slow on the play, and it's these small factors, this little tempo that X7 creates on the map that makes matters so difficult to play into them.
Gotta look for the bubble, will force the flash from Fury, who just couldn't hold on to that, had to move away from where the bubble was coming in. Easy summoner blown.
But look at the wave of Fury right now. It is gonna slowly push towards Tempt. If Tempt wants to keep the wave wherever he pleases, he may as well do so. That means that Fury is gonna either have to call Seaboy in the mid lane to help him push in the wave, or he has to back, and Tempt gets to shove in the wave, and then he can
not a bother. Meganar flashed away from Jaeger. Good call there, Goldborg. But he does get out there with the quick draw flash. Combo is down the summoner spell now, though.
And that's the thing, you look at the bot lane right now, because you had the Sire into the Ezreal, OD gains control of bot side, and therefore the supports can move first from the side of Bifrost, but Shikari needs to be careful.
Haru's back. We never did our World Champion Gangster Night cover of like, In the Jungle, which we did have some plans for at some point. It involved basically singing Haru at a very high pitch to the tune of Wimbleway. But another time.
Never too late.
Never too late. Imagine it, ladies and gentlemen, if you so choose. Another time we might go and do that. There's probably a TikTok in at some point. Anyway.
Are you looking at me?
I'm looking at both of you. I know what you're like. Either way, we've got the Herald spawned. Scuttle Crab Vision is currently X7's, but Seaboy's the one starting as Duel takes a nasty chunk but goes over the wall and really regrets it. Haru now chunking out, gets a 3 Talon Strike of first blood. Of course it's to Tempt.
And it's just so scattered again from the side of Bifrost. 2 members is on the Rift Herald. Duel, he's looking for Engage, but he's going on to Tempt, who had Cleanse on this Zoe, so he's engaged. He's forced to flash away immediately after, realizing that 2 members is next to Tempt playing Bodyguard.
And I want to remind you why X7 could not walk in to get the Dragon before. That was because Odi was there. The feathers are just so important to be set down first, so X7 cannot just blindly walk in. Fury needs to be there with a Vex, so they cannot face-check that fear. They cannot face-check the Vex passive. But none of the 2 were there. Odi was stuck down the bot lane in the transition towards the top side of the map, and Fury was stuck in his mid lane because he couldn't walk too far forward because he doesn't have his flash available to get out. So yet another great read on the map by X7, capitalizing on yet another mistake from Bifrost.
And just to add on that point as well, it's because they wasted so much time that Nata got to push in the bot side. He got to move into the mid lane that then gained more pressure for X7, and now he's back in the bot side again, ready to pick up the wave.
Flash is going to be blown from Tempt. He's now looking to see whether he can land a bubble. Doesn't quite manage to make it happen. The Paddle Star just about goes wide.
And that could have been a kill if that bubble actually connected. Remember, Fury was forced out of his flash just 2 minutes earlier. And once again, X7 on the map, they're gaining more pressure. Jaeger gets the first plate. Down towards the bot side, they are pushed in, but that was just because Nata was moving, as we explained. All of a sudden, this tempo we quite often talk about, X7, they're looking for it, but we're returning back into an even map state.
Yes, it is, but as it stands, Bifrost kind of just that little step behind right now, and we'd kind of set up, or at least I'd set up for maybe a bit of a cataclysmic clash around that Herald, but the initial pick stymies that. Maybe with the Dragon spawning in about 40 seconds or so, that might be the next opportunity. Level 6 not in for duel, though, is a problem. I don't know how far away he is from it. Surely he can't be that far.
He should be very close.
There it is.
Sync has already hit it for quite a while now, so he must be able to get that. Audi, of course, was sitting down in the bot lane all alone, so he is level 7. There you go, level 6 for duel. So right now, it is a fight on who's going to get vision first in this Dragon. As you can see, both mid laners extremely vulnerable, do not have their flashes available, so they cannot overextend. The second C-Boy moves forward, Tempt has to move backwards.
But at least this time around, you have the bot lane priority, so Jewel can move in and you can finally get some control of the river. This seems like one of the games where Bifrost, they're looking like a team who can actually contest the objectives. But however these team fights will play out, it will come down to execution. Mid lane has been pushed in by Bifrost, allows them to gain control once again of the river, but no one's walking in. Odie's recalling in. If they spot this...
Okay, so they're basically maybe forfeiting this Dragon. I mean, it's fine. They still have the first one available to them. And you need Audi to be there because he has that Eclipse.
Oh, Kasing's going to face check. That will grand entrance over the wall, so not too much damage blown onto the Rakan. What's that ward just behind the river waters? What are you thinking about right now?
Yeah, just like that. Haru gets spotted on a ward on top side. That means the rest of Bifrost can now start up the Drake because they know X7's going for a cross map instead with the Rift Tail. Shikari, are you going to try to go for some outplay potential? Actually, both players are backing up here.
Just push him off the honestly, just push him off the tower, get more gold into Jaeger. We mentioned how they want to play 1 and 4, but Tempt has been called.
He's got cleanse, he's got no way out though. The stun from Duel will allow a follow-up, and Fury gets that one as Tempt was looking to try and get something towards a topside roam and gets caught in that rotation.
Surely Nata doesn't get it again, right?
C-Boy is now going to start up this Dragon. Will have Smite, but he's going to get charmed up, knocked up, and he needs to now find his way out, smited early to try and tank up the Dragon.
Surely not again!
And the Dragon is taken by Nata. Clean as Smite the whole damn game. Mystic shot. Kasing will go down and trade. It's a 1-for-1 plus Dragon to X7 in the bot side.
Did I jinx this too?
You probably did. And just like that, they pick up objectives again. Rift Herald made the top tower very close, but Shikari, he's still fighting for the wave control. He's still fighting to push Jaeger back. And let's have a look at it once again. C-Boy, as you said, forced to smite early to regain HP. Ultimate comes through, tries to secure it, but he's just so low. And despite Fury doing his best, picking up the Drake himself, which is not able to make it work. Unfortunate flash from Kasing to end the exchange of that. But in the end, I mean, you can argue who's that worth it for. They pick up the kills. There's still some gold to be spent for Bifrost.
I mean, honestly, it's the most even game we've seen out of all 3 so far. Yes, X7 are ahead, but they're only 1,000 gold ahead right now. They have the Eclipse on their Zarya, which means these feathers are going to be hurting whoever they hit. Because if you look on the side of X7 right now, they have 3 very squishy members, especially towards the bot side of the map. So whoever they hit, whoever gets stunned, they could be blown up really quickly. So I really like that Bifrost actually have options right here, especially with the Vex, the Volibear, getting into the backline, blowing someone up.
And this is the man right here we need to take a look at. Joel, there's so much pressure on him for Bifrost because he's been gifted a lane where he gets first move every time as a support. Odie is pressuring bot, allows Joel to leave. Odie's left for safety, and then it's up to Joel to see if he can make anything happen on the rest of the map. And no flash, you say it yourself.
Oh, Zenith Blade, Solar Flare, but the stopwatch will buy time for Tempt. And now how does it go? Duel's taken so desperately low. There's a flash available for Tempt. Won't quite manage to find that bubble afterwards, though. So well played from Tempt to extricate himself from a dangerous position, but stopwatch was popped in trade for the summoners of Duel.
And CC Chain, it's just not layered in that instant.
Oh, Duel is dead. He's just done for.
Duel may just be dead here.
Revenge from Tempt?
That's a bit of vengeance for that to play towards the topside river. Chases him out a little bit further. Does have the option now. Kasing and Haru taking control of Bifrost's red side jungle. Odie's had to back away from the tower as well.
I think I've heard you saying that quote so many times this series because I don't think C-Boy has been able to walk into his jungle free. He will either lose his life or he will lose a bunch of camps and fall behind, which has been the case yet again. And of course, it doesn't just come just from C-Boy's performance, right? When lanes fall apart, there's only so much you can do. And even though Bifrost has been keeping up in this game, it just somehow feels that the tempo, the way X7 plays around the map, the Graves getting ahead in the top side of the map, it just feels good for them.
Yeah, and you said it, the way they play around the map, you can already see the aggressive vision that Haro is gaining around here. He knows red buff is spawning in less than 1 minute. First top turret has just been picked up as well for Jaeger. And with the priority in lanes, X7 is constantly looking for a play to commit to.
I was about to say, it's only about 1,000 gold difference. Suddenly it's 2,000 after some of those jungle camps, and that first tower finally comes through here at the 15-minute mark. It had been a little slower, but suddenly X7 have themselves, if not a massive lead, at least a respectable one here. And Bifrost still in it, of course, still got an early dragon, but there are some discrepancies here which are making things a little tricky. You can see top jungle continuing to be dominant for X7, but at least Odie this time in a position to do some work.
Yeah, but this time it's Bifrost who wants to play cross-map instead. They realize that Rift Herald will be taken by X7. They know they don't want to fight for it. They want to play towards their carry, and that's why C-Boy is investing so much attention down towards this spot side. They do spot it out with the Ezreal, but C-Boy, he don't care. You can pick up this blue buff, you can pick down the bot turret, and that's just going to be it for Bifrost.
And that's why it's just clever to pick Ezreal from the side of X7. They know that Nata is going to be playing yet again on the weak side. They give him a champion that's very slippery. He knows he's going to get camped by C-Boy because Odie and Duo are the strong side of the map for Bifrost, and C-Boy will want to play towards there. But you just cannot catch Nata at all on the Ezreal, and therefore you get punished on the other side of the map. This Graves is going to be huge. He's getting yet another Rift Herald, and now they can even break mid lane tower and go for Dragon.
But I do want to speak about the difference in composition this time around from Bifrost. Odie on this side, compared to the first game as well, he is super good into the enemy team composition. There's really not a lot of threat unless he gets hit by a bubble. May have overstepped here though.
Or a spear.
And that's a good solar flare to buy some space, and the glacial slow afterwards bites time. But look who's teleported in, it's Jaeger. There's just no way, don't burn the Feather Storm, because there is no way you can fly away from your problems there. Taken down before he can fly south, migrate for winter.
How good is he 1v3 versus this comp?
I mean, it's almost 1 versus 5, isn't it? And that's where it becomes an issue, because Graves in itself, walking into the Sire gets to have the greater range. Haro as well, he'll get ulted. Kesing, he'll get ulted, right, when they try to go in on them. So Nata as well will have to hit Mystic Shot, but the range has been matched by the feathers as well. And Tempt, I mean, if you don't hit that bubble, then you should count on Odie having the hands to dodge some of the skill shots. And that's why I think there's actually so much pressure on Odie in this series to show up, because he's allowed to do so in the draft.
It does come in trade, of course, for Shikari getting some time alone in that topside tower and securing that one, so at least the towers are kept relatively even. In fact, Bifrost ahead right now, but X7, with having teleported down here, will secure this second dragon. And also we have to keep into consideration that there is a Herald in Haro's pocket as well. You can actually choose to pop it down the mid lane and make Vex's life a hell when farming. He's going to use the Unstoppable from the ultimate to buy some space. Quickness was popped from Haru, but couldn't quite get in range. He didn't want to pop the flash, so it will be trade of ultimate for ultimate there.
But Bifrost right now, they're stabilizing a little bit. Yes, X7 still the one with a tempo advantage, and we can see from their plays as well that they are avoiding to match any fight with X7. Every time X7 is committing to a play, Bifrost, they're trying to cross-map it instead, and they're waiting for the time where they feel comfortable. Right now, it must be when Odie finally finishes up that Moral Mana, maybe when you get the third item and you want to start looking for a pick. That's where Bifrost suddenly starts to show up, and that's what X7 needs to be worried about. Yes, they're playing around with a lot of tempo currently, but if they start making mistakes, then Bifrost has a very good composition to punish on those mistakes.
I just think X7 are an excellent example of a team that respects their opponents. They smash them back to back, and they're respecting everything that Bifrost are doing into this game. The weak side knows how to get back, and C-Boy is just not gonna get a freaking smite this game. It seems very unlucky for him, but whilst top lane was being pushed by Shikari, X7 takes mid lane, which is very important. Opens up the map, creates that darkness into C-Boy's jungle. X7 is taking bot lane during that time. So even though, yes, Bifrost are trying to make a play, X7 will capitalize ×2 on the other side.
And what a sense of growth that's been for X7, because often we've said they don't respect their enemy teams in the mid game, in the late game. It's often been where they've been punished a little, honestly, even by Bifrost in the previous series, and that is a great step in favor. I'm hoping we haven't cursed him, as Jaeger is about to potentially get jumped on here by Duel and Fury, as the Shadow Surge was popped. He's going to get on the turret, but has actually got a fair amount of safety. Flashes out from the Everfrost and Solar Flare. Uses the collateral damage, trying to clear some of the way. Fury was taking tower shots. He's going to have to pop the stopwatch, and that's not what you want to see. Big misstep from the mid laner.
Check out the other side of the map. It is Nata and Haru on the other side trying to take that tier 2 top lane as well. So at the end of the day, it is gonna not get traded.
Yeah, and that's the C-Boy tries to look for play here. Haru should be able to disengage it.
Takes a lot of damage on the C-Boy. He can now go in, forces the ultimate out. There's teleport coming through. Shikari solo had to flash as well. Now the teleports are coming back through, but Fury is in a 1 versus 3 until Odie will turn up. And now X7 need to try and extricate themselves. There'll be a flash for misses the personal space. Fury with some uncharacteristic misplays here, some unneeded ones, and now the Mystic shots can start coming through. The boulder's just short. C-Boy solo in the other side of the map. Kasing and Temps trying to trade out against Duel. The Eclipse shield come through. Quickness is there, and Duel will go down with it. Surely, but not before a stopwatch comes down. We'll try and tie down on the other side. Nata has a double kill, finally shut down by C-Boy. It will turn into a 2-for-1 as Nata is finally shut down. Maybe not a 3-for-1 actually. It's one earth up and over there.
It's a 5 versus 3 out of everything.
Wait, that was a 1 versus 3 for Nata.
It's 1 versus 3 from Nata. Jaeger wasn't even part of the play. Bifrost, they're so scattered and they're so desperate. Like, this is not restrained. The fact that you're committing this hard to a play, we've been saying they've been cross-mapping the entire time. They've not been wanting to match a play. This time around, when they match one, they're so desperate to make it succeed. They need the momentum as a team. They need something to go right for them, not only in this game, but for the entirety of this series. So when this misplay comes out from Fury, it's really just a disaster from X7.
I just feel like they're on a completely different page. Fury says, I have the fear, I can flash W in, keep going. But then C-Boy and Shikari are just so low that they cannot. And then on the other side, you have the bot lane trying to flank around, but the rest of X7 is there. I can see the sentiment of Bifrost being, guys, this is a 4v5. If we have to catch them, it's going to be right here because Jaeger's on the other side of the map. Jaeger takes a tier 2 down the bot lane, all alone, unbothered, whilst he's ADC with 10% HP, 1v3s.
Fury, that is now a stopwatch that had to be burned because of taking tower shot. That is a missed flash personal space for the double fear that cost them huge in that topside play. I know it's a tough situation. I know you're 0-2 down in game score, but that is not what you need to be doing against a team of the caliber of X7.
You just need a pick. You need something that gives momentum right now. That's all you really need. Something that brightens up the communication because Bifrost, quite frankly, they are still in a decent spot. They're not even that much gold far behind compared to what they've been the other games. But they
far behind
it
is
feels like they're
4,000
stressing
still.
themselves.
I'm actually not mad about what Fury has been trying to do this game. I feel like we've criticized a lot his regular split, absolutely, but I think he's trying to go above and beyond. Sam is going to miss, Sam is going to hit, X7 hits.
That will definitely make some damage come through. Kasing Battle Dance, Grand Ends just try and get a quickness, but won't quite make it happen. Bifrost left on some very low HP bars, particularly Duel, who is about an auto attack away from death, and with the dragon spawning, Bifrost in a very precarious situation.
X7 is playing this so well around that poke as well because Nata is finally getting so fed on the Ezreal. You get the poke from the Tempt as well. And you don't even have to win the team fight. It's just the fact that you're forcing them out with your abilities to make sure that they're not in a position to fight it. The main issue for Bifrost currently is that they're not just pulling the trigger. They can't wait for the perfect moment all the time. They have to create it with their composition. They have to be the aggressors. And if you can't, well, then you're going to be losing these extended fights where it's just coming down to the poke and you don't really get to be aggressive with the Vex, with the Leon, and with the Volibear.
Bifrost need to be decisive into pressing the button. They need to go in before all the poke lands. Zoe poke, Ezreal poke, Graves ult, somebody gets blown up, and that somebody could even be the Volibear, which is your front line. This is why I'm not bad with Fury, trying to make these plays, even if he misses the flash, even if he misses the fear, he has to make an aggressive play happen before people get poked to death. So the only problem is that Bifrost have not necessarily been able to chain their actions together, to say go and seeing them all go at the same time. Mind you, they're not that far behind. It's just a 4,000 gold deficit that they find themselves in. They still have champions that can blow people up with Vex on 2 items and Zaya on 3. So they're at a pretty good state where if they catch someone off guard from X7, they could pull the win.
And you can see Odie has managed to get themselves at least a minor gold lead here. Has often been the recipient of pressure for Bifrost in this series, though unfortunately not to the results they would like. Either way, Tempt, Nata, Jaeger, all at exceptionally strong points. That is Collector plus Last Whisper to ensure no amount of armor will matter right now. The burst from X7 is catastrophically large. And you're right, they need to pull the trigger before the burst can come through, before the poke can come through. But that window, the amount of time you can hold up to it, is so small now.
But once again, just look at the map. Like, look at the vision control. You barely see any blue wards. Look, like, I'm not...
Straight across the map.
Everything is just red. currently. Everything is owned by X7. So, like, Bifrost, they're not just losing the laning phase, they're not just losing the tempo, they're losing the vision on the map, and now...
Oh, the bubble down the wall, it's an absolute sniper shot from Tempt. Duel is the target, flashes out from the paddle star. Fury has now arrived, it would be a 4v4, Shadow Surge comes through, and Tempt going in, gets the flee, the fear out. Nata trying to shut out as best he can, flashing away, that's 2 kills back for Bifrost. Is this the moment they were waiting for? They'll take 2, can they get more as Fury gets a shutdown, and it's Haru alone against the world. Has got a stopwatch. Here comes Jaeger, trying to burn down as many people as he can, but a stopwatch. A Zhonya's from Fury, and Bifrost may have done it. They've got themselves 4 Barons alive, and none of their members are dead. They can finally find a moment in this series.
And that's how you do it, baby. You push the trigger all at once. X7 choose the wrong target. They choose to go onto that Leona, and Bifrost turn neat around, and props to Fury yet again, stepping up, getting these Vex ults. Jaeger, can you 1v5?
Just so much damage. Wow. Oh god, that's Desire down. Jules on no HP. Or single auto. A Collector would take him out. They're trying to chase on the Jaeger, and he, in a one-man against 5, stops the Baron. A final auto into Sky would also secure him. Not quite enough. And that Graves is sticking them all in his namesake.
Lone man standing. Jaeger have done this.
No.
True Shot Barrage not going to be enough. No one's going to be hit by it. But look at the Baron now. Look at the member who's respawned. X7 can pick this up. It looked like the brink of victory for Bifrost. But X7, they might have snatched it right back.
They got a 4 for none. And Jaeger, 1v4, 1v5, teleported and stops the Baron. They get a Baron in trade.
It's gone.
What on earth?
And Duel might be in a bad position.
No.
Trouble bubble.
No, the best moment all series, and it's turned into an absolute catastrophe, an apocalypse. X7 are 2-0 up in this series with another member dead. They're going to get Shikari as well. Haru's going down. It probably is. I think X7 are going to the group stage of EU Masters.
Calm the horses just yet. Still 30 seconds on Fury, 20 on Duel.
Eyes on.
But let's have a look at this one. Mid lane still being pushed down. 2 cannon minions. But look at that. Soul is spawning in less than 1 minute. And just like that, X7 decides, let's set up for that instead. Let's clear out the jungle camps. Let's put up the vision. And let's go for the resets.
One of the best plays we've seen from Bifrost was turned completely around by the Graves that they've been leaving unattended on a side lane. And Jaeger blows them up. That was a great play by him. He didn't try to overextend. All he tried to do was get whatever heal he could and stop the Baron from being taken. And due to all the resets from the side of Bifrost, X7 just sprinted the Baron, and it ended up being disaster.
It's crazy to think about it. It's also because they couldn't quite pin down Jaeger in that last team fight. That could have been a kill. They misplayed it a little bit, and they thought it was going to be good enough, but we're going straight out that recall. Soul has...
Duel's HP bar disappears. He's just about alive, but there's no easy way of making an engage happen now. He is going on a one-way trip as Tempt continues to turn into a battle station worthy of the Empire. Somewhere out there, there is a very big disturbance in the Force. There's a very big disturbance in Europe because X7 are in an utterly commanding position.
And if you already didn't have enough poke from the side of X7, add the Hextech Soul as well into all this, add the zap, add the slow, add the chase. X7 are chasing that #1 seed ticket straight into EU Masters, baby.
There are so many times we have talked about super teams around the world, and they have failed. When you've got players the caliber of X7, world champions on your roster, we have seen it crumble apart. We were worried for X7 at points when we came into players and we saw that series against Bifrost. We wondered, are they as good as we think they are? They've come in today and they have demolished. They have done what G2 said they were going to do in 2018 and 19. They came in not to win, but to traumatize. EU Masters, be afraid. This team is just on another level right now.
They definitely are, and they're still continuing. Remember, this is a poke composition. You got Baron of minions. You got the Hextech Drake. One ability lands even on a minion. That slows. Goes just like a static shiv, all static shiv. along all those members and makes the poke even more difficult to deal with, even harder to dodge. The common skill shots, just look at that from a true shot barrage. Mid lane now being pushed in, they're playing it cleverly, they're playing it on 2 lanes, and surely it's just a matter of time before Bifrost, they have to look for desperation
Oh, one
again.
last chance, baby.
Duel is down, no way out of this, and X7, it's a victory march, the trophies in their sights. They are about to prove exactly why all the predictions before the split were correct. Welcome to your thrones, oh lords, oh masters, oh kings of the NLC. X7 are marching on Nexuses, they're marching on Europe, and there will be none who can stand before their fury. GG 3-0 X7.
They're still playing around with those KDA, they're still padding up, but we will get the explosion. And just like that, it was a fast one. It was pre 30 minutes. All of these series games